What's going on, guys? So I got a little update for y'all. I haven't really made a video in a minute just because I've been really busy with school and work and whatnot. But I got a lot of fuel parts done. My car's over there in the corner. I'm going to show y'all what I got today. Take a look, see what I got. So since last time, I've sold a few of my old components I was using. On the new setup, we're going to be using the Weldon stuff. Weldon, I mean, they make really nice quality stuff. Use the Weldon filter, the regulator, and then Radium makes this really cool fitting, right? And you can basically put it in to your stock hanger like that, and it still uses the OEM clip to go in like this. So basically you just take that fitting, you push it down, and use a stock clip, and it clips it in there and holds it in place. So I'm actually going to be using a surge tank this time rather than using a triple hanger. So what we got here is I drilled this out, put a 90-degree fitting with the 6AN and a barb fitting on the bottom. I used submersible 5/16 hose down to this 3/8 dual barbed 180-degree fitting, and it goes back to the siphon valve. So it feeds into here, and it comes down through here, and this is where your stock saddle tank pump plumbs into as well. That way you can get suction from the other side of the tank. If you don't have that plugged in and this set up correctly, it will not use the other side of the tank, so you'll be stuck with basically like a quarter tank of gas. Once you do this setup right here, like that, you can run an AEM pump, and it plugs right in right there, and it sits right there, and that's just enough fuel to basically go and send from here into the surge tank. And then the surge tank has 3 Walbro 450 high pressures, right? So if you look on the top here, it feeds from the stock tank here, and it goes from the pump out to the fuel rail, and the fuel rail comes back and actually goes to the turn here, and then your overflow goes back to the stock tank. So if it overflows, there's too much pressure in there, it has somewhere to leak off into, which is a stock tank. That overflow is going to plug into the return line here. So as it comes down and overflows, goes through, creates a suction, and that's what you get, the other tank pulls over gas. And then you can still use the stock little float, which goes there. Plug that in once I get it all finished. And then you do need to make sure that you either cut this off and weld it, pinch it and weld it, put some kind of fitting or something on there basically to block this off. That way when you put this back in here, you're going to put it in there like that, and there's a little cap that sits on the bottom and holds it all together. This is the internal regulator. This is why you can't use a returnless setup on the stock is300, because it has an internal regulator. So this is just like a miniature version of this. Yeah, with this, you cannot run a return, so you need to block it off right here. Make sure that there's nothing coming in or out, and then you just put it back in there on that stock spot right here. And it has a little O-ring, creates a seal, and you just leave it alone and you don't mess with it. This setup here, I like this Radium setup a lot. One, it just looks really clean. That's all it's hooked up right there. You got all the negative and positives in the bottom. It comes with all the hardware. Comes with all the hardware, the nuts, the bolts, the clamps. It comes with a little tube to connect the top of the pumps to the bottom of the hat. Another cool thing is you're probably wondering, okay, well, where do the socks go? The filter socks, right? Not a whole bunch of space. Really cool thing I like about this, right? It has its own built-in wire mesh sock, right? So they all sit down in there. Pulling out for y'all. So basically, you take the bottom, and there's a little slot for it right there. You can see the filter in there. And you just take this guy and you put him in, just like that. And then you take this top hat, and it has the screws. You can see there, 2 there, 2 there, 2 there. And it sits on top, and screws in, and this just drops in like that. And then once that happens, I'll be putting it in the trunk of the Lexus, as well as with the battery right next to it on the left side of the trunk. So that's a little update for you guys. Made a little more progress. I got the head finally done, CNC ported, so it's ready to go. Just gonna do final assembly. Also, I got the trans pump hooked up thanks to Miles Kurth. Check him out on Instagram. He hooked me up with this bracket actually right here. It holds the pump underneath the transmission. He can get you one if you're interested in getting one. The way you run this is you have an 8 AN come out to the pump, and you have a 6 AN feed from the pump, and it sprays the front here. That basically keeps the transmission cool when you do a wide open pull. So that way it keeps the transmission go a little bit longer and doesn't eat up the front gears right here because it sloshes all to the back. So yeah. Alright guys, also wanted to play this in the video. This is the head I've been working on. So this is a 2JZ Ge Vvti head. I went through and I completely redid it. I had Jeff Sy at Power Dynamics. I had him go through and do some clearancing for me on the bucket area. So right here I had him go through and basically cut clearance for the cams I'm running. So I'm going to be running the BC 276 cams, the 405 lift. When you run a cam like that, you typically want to get this done, the CNC work, or you can do it by hand, but you know, it's easier to have a CNC program that's already done. Go ahead and just do it for you. You need that though, because if you don't have that, the lobes will actually hit right here when it spins over. It'll smack right here, and I have a pretty bad day after that. So got that done. When I got the head back, I actually went through and got it hot tanked just to clean it up some more. And I went through and I actually went through here and cleaned up the exhaust side some, ported it some by hand. Didn't take them out super wide, just enough to where it flowed at least 75% of what the intake side flew. So yeah, that's what they look like. And then I went ahead and did a valve drop as well on the intake and exhaust side all the way through. Made sure that the free drop was all the same on the valves, so that's good. We went ahead and also tipped all the valves I'm using because I'm running shimless buckets now as well. The main thing I wanted to show you guys is actually a port I've been working on. So I have been spending some time porting heads, specifically the 2JZ Ge head, to design a CNC port for these. So this is what it actually came out to be. If you look in there, you can see where I opened it up in the center, right in there. There you go. So that center wall there, went ahead in there and I grinded it so that it is a little bit thinner. That'll help a lot with flow. Also went ahead and opened the roof of the port as well, right in here in this area right here. I added this fin right here so I can help separate the air as it goes through. And also opened up the short turn and down in here in the bottom of the floor and opened up the bowl area. Sorry it's a little blurry. But doing that allowed me to flow, basically the stock flow numbers at 450 lift was like 228. Now it flows almost 300 at 450 lift. It's like 289 or 290, which is amazing. All right, 2Js don't flow a lot because they have small valves, and you know they're not really meant to flow a shit ton. But when you put a big turbo behind it, it's going to flow whatever you want. If you port it, it's going to help with that. Basically, it's going to use less boost pressure to make the same amount of power, so it's going to help out the head basically, and help out the turbo, whatnot, just by porting it. So there's some spots I need to go here, and I need to actually blend in. If you look right there, that center wall, it's not quite CNC'd all the way right there. So I'm gonna go through there with my burr. I'm actually gonna open that up some more and blend that properly. Same on this one right here. Clean that up as well some more. That is common for a CNC port, guys. Don't expect the CNC to hit every single spot in a port. It's like this spot right here. It's just because this is left over does not necessarily mean that they missed it or that the machine is not proper. Sometimes the port just doesn't get hit, and that's fine. So I'm gonna go ahead and port this, and then I'll get back to y'all when I am finished.